They thought they knew you until you twisted everything around. They thought they knew you. They thought they had figured you out. You were predictable, reliable, safe. You were the person they could count on, the person they believed they could mold and shape according to their own narrow views of who you were and who you should be. You were a reflection of their expectations, a mere shadow of their desires, but they didn't understand you, not fully, not truly. And now they're finding out just how wrong they were, just how mistaken they were in thinking they could control you. They never saw it coming. They never anticipated the shift, the change, the unraveling of everything they thought they knew about you. You weren't a puzzle that could be solved. You weren't a book with pages that could be turned and read and put back on the shelf. You were something else, something far more complex. And now, as you twist everything around, they're left standing in the chaos, unable to comprehend the force they've unleashed. They thought they could define you. They thought they could put you in a box, label you, categorize you, but they were wrong. They never understood that you were never meant to be understood by them. They thought they had you figured out, thought they had you on a leash, pulling you in whichever direction they desired. They thought you were theirs to shape, theirs to control. But they never knew who you were deep inside. They never knew the fire that burned within you, the hunger that kept you moving, the storm that was always waiting to be unleashed. You were playing their game for a time. You went along with their rules. You wore the mask they wanted to see. You said the words they wanted to hear. But deep down, you knew it wasn't real. You knew you were biding your time, waiting for the perfect moment to show them that you were not the person they thought you were. And now, that moment has come. They thought they knew you. They thought they had you figured out. They didn't see the rage simmering beneath the surface, the cold determination that pulsed through your veins, the savage need to break free from their grip. They didn't see the mind that was always working, always calculating, always plotting. They thought you were weak because you played along, because you kept your head down and did what they expected. They thought you were just another cog in their machine, another tool to be used and discarded when they were done with you. But you were never a cog. You were the machine. You were the power behind the mask. And now they're going to see exactly what happens when they push you too far. They didn't know you. They didn't understand the depth of your darkness, the strength of your will, the coldness in your soul. They didn't see the power you had when you finally broke free, when you stopped caring about their expectations, when you started caring only about yourself and what you could achieve. They thought they could control you because they were used to controlling people, used to bending others to their will. They thought they could break you, but they never knew that you were already broken in a way that made you stronger. They never knew that you had a fire within you that could never be extinguished, no matter how hard they tried. They thought you were just like everyone else, that you would follow the same path, that you would settle for mediocrity, that you would live your life according to their rules. But you were never like everyone else. You were never meant to follow the same path. You were always destined for something greater, something more. They didn't know that. They didn't see it because they were too busy trying to mold you into their vision, trying to make you into something you were never meant to be. And now, as you twist everything around, as you show them the true extent of your power, they're realizing just how wrong they were. They're realizing that they never had control over you, that they never understood the depths of your ambition, the strength of your will. They're realizing that they were just players in a game that you had already mastered. And now, they have no choice but to watch as you take control of the narrative, as you twist everything around and make it your own. They thought they knew you, but they were wrong. They thought they could predict your every move, but they couldn't. They thought they could break you, but they couldn't. They thought they could control you, but they never understood that you were always in control. always playing your own game, always moving towards something greater, something far beyond their comprehension. They underestimated you. They underestimated your power, your resolve, your ability to change, to grow, to adapt. They thought they had you trapped in a corner, but they never realized that you were the one holding the keys to your freedom all along. They thought they could break you, but you broke them instead. They thought they could make you bow down to their will, but you bent the world to your own. And now, as the dust settles and they stand in the wreckage of their own expectations, they're left wondering what went wrong. They thought they knew you, but they didn't. They never saw the rage in your eyes, the fire in your heart, the darkness in your soul. They never saw the storm that was always brewing beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to break free. And now that it has, they're left in awe, in disbelief, in fear. They thought they knew you, but they were wrong. They thought they could control you, but they were wrong. They thought they could break you, but they were wrong. And now, it's too late for them. Now, it's your turn. You have twisted everything around. You have taken their expectations, their rules, their limitations, and you've turned them into your greatest strength. You've become something they could never understand, something they could never predict. And now, they will see just how powerful you truly are. So let them watch. Let them stand there in their confusion and fear. Let them watch as you rise higher and higher, as you take everything they thought they knew and make it your own. Let them watch as you destroy the illusion they built, as you break free from the chains they tried to bind you with. Let them watch as you rewrite the story, as you become the force that controls your own destiny. They thought they knew you. They were wrong. And now, you are the one in control. They thought they knew you, but they didn't. They thought they could understand the pieces of you. They could see the fragments of your being that you allowed them to glimpse, but they were blind to the whole of you. They never understood the dark depths you came from, nor the ferocity with which you would rise. They never considered that you were always more than what they saw, that beneath the surface, beneath the quiet facade you wore, there was an unstoppable force waiting to break free. There were moments in your life when you played along, when you let them believe they had power over you, when you let them shape the narrative, when you let them assume they were the ones in control. They believed they were the masters of your fate, the architects of your destiny, shaping your future with every command, every word, every move. But all along, you were playing a game they didn't even know existed. You gave them your obedience, and they mistook it for submission. You allowed them to take from you, to drain you, to manipulate you, and they thought you were weak for it. They thought you were nothing more than a willing participant in their twisted charade. They had no idea that every step they took, every boundary they pushed, was forging the very strength you would need to break free. They didn't see that they were building your resilience, not crushing it. They didn't see the fire that grew in silence. They didn't see the hunger that pulsed in your veins. They thought they knew you, but they didn't. They only saw what they wanted to see, the parts of you that fit into their narrative, the parts that made them feel powerful. They ignored the darker parts, the parts they couldn't control, the parts that made you who you are, who you would become. And now, as you twist everything around, they're witnessing the consequences of their ignorance. They're watching the reality unfold in front of them, realizing they were never in charge, never the ones who dictated the story. You twisted everything around, not out of malice, but because you had to. You didn't choose to shatter their delusions for pleasure. No, you twisted everything around because it was the only way to survive. They had pushed you to the edge, pushed you to a breaking point you never thought you'd reach. But once you got there, once you saw what lay beyond that edge, you realized something. There is no limit to your power. There is no boundary they can place on you that you cannot shatter. The world around you thought they knew your every move. They thought you were predictable. They thought they could set your course, steer you in whatever direction they desired. But what they didn't understand is that you were the storm, not the ship. You were the force of nature that could not be contained by their plans. They thought they could ride your momentum, direct your energy, but they were wrong. You were never their puppet. You were never their plaything. And now, they are seeing that truth for the first time, a truth they never anticipated. They thought they were in control, but they never knew how close they were to the edge of a disaster they couldn't prevent. They thought they knew what you could handle, what you could endure, but they didn't realize you were already operating on a level far beyond their comprehension. They thought they were chipping away at your resolve, but they were only sharpening your edges, molding you into something sharper, deadlier, more unstoppable. What they thought was your weakness was actually your greatest strength. What they mistook for fragility was your greatest fortitude. What they saw as your silence was the storm brewing inside you. They didn't know. They couldn't have known. And now, as you rise from the ashes of their ignorance, they stand in disbelief, watching as you take control of your own narrative, rewriting the rules they tried to impose upon you. You have become what they feared, not because of your cruelty or vengeance, but because you refuse to be defined by their limitations. They tried to make you conform, to fit into their mold, but you were never meant to fit into their mold. You were always meant to break it, to shatter it with everything you have. And now, as you do, they are watching in horror, unable to comprehend the magnitude of your transformation. They thought they knew you. They thought they had you figured out. But in their arrogance, they didn't see the depth of your potential. They didn't see the power within you, waiting to explode. They didn't see the force you could become when pushed beyond the brink. And now that it's unleashed, they realize the monster they tried to create is nothing compared to the force they've unleashed. The world believes they can bend you, shape you, control you. They believe that all it takes is a little pressure, a little manipulation, a few broken promises, and you will fold, that you will bend to their will, that you will conform to their desires. But they don't realize that you've been bent before. You've been broken before. You've felt the weight of the world pressing down on you, and instead of breaking, instead of yielding, you only grew stronger. You learned to use their tactics against them, to turn their own tools of control into weapons of your own. You've survived their attempts to break you, and now you are unstoppable. They thought they could break you with their words, with their demands, with their rules. They thought they could limit you with their vision, with their tiny, cramped, boxed-in view of what your life should be. They thought they could control you, limit your reach, stop your progress. They thought they could contain your fire, snuff out your ambition, and extinguish your rage. But what they never understood is that you don't need permission to rise. You don't need approval to succeed. You don't need anyone's blessing to forge your own path. You've lived a life dictated by their expectations, their constraints, their narrow view of what you could be. You've lived in a world where every step you took was judged, where every word you spoke was scrutinized, where every action was analyzed to fit their narrative. But now, those chains are breaking. They're falling apart piece by piece, and you are walking away from them. You are leaving behind the world they tried to create for you, the cage they built for you, and you are stepping into something new, something raw, something true. Now, as you stand on the edge of everything you've ever wanted, you can look back and laugh at those who thought they had you figured out. You can laugh at those who tried to break you, because you know now that their attempts were never going to succeed. You are stronger than they could ever imagine. You are more powerful than they could ever comprehend. They thought they knew you. They thought they could predict you, control you, manipulate you. They thought they could bend you to their will, break your spirit, extinguish your fire. But they were wrong. And now, as you rise to claim what is rightfully yours, they will have to watch as the power they once held over you slips through their fingers like sand in the wind. They are the ones who are powerless now. They are the ones who are left with nothing, while you stand tall, unbroken, and more powerful than ever before. They tried to take your freedom, but in the end, they gave you the strength to take it back. They thought they were your captors, but now they will see that they were never your masters. They will see that you were always the one in control, and they will regret ever trying to tame you. The darkness they feared in you, the power they tried to suppress, is no longer something you hide away. It is something you embrace. You are the storm now. You are the force that will reshape everything in your path. You are the one who will twist everything around, because you know now that there is nothing and no one who can stand in your way. The world will know your name, and they will remember the moment they thought they knew you, and they were wrong. As you twist everything around, as you take your place in the world, don't let anyone tell you that you don't belong. Don't let anyone try to push you back into the box they once tried to shove you into. You are the force. You are the power. And you will bend the world to your will, not the other way around. They thought they knew you. Now they will see just how wrong they were. And in the end, they will have nothing left but regret. They thought they knew you, but they didn't. They had no idea what you were made of, no clue what you could endure. They never bothered to understand the fire inside you, the rage that simmered beneath the surface, the raw energy that was never meant to be controlled. They saw only the surface, the calm, the quiet, the subtle movements that made them feel safe. They thought you were predictable, manageable, safe. They saw the parts of you that fit neatly into their understanding of the world, the parts of you that made them feel good about themselves. They thought you were just another piece in their puzzle, a tool to further their own agenda. They never saw the storm brewing behind the mask, never saw the power lurking in the silence. And now, as they stand in the aftermath of everything you've become, they are starting to understand that they were never in control. They never had you figured out. They were never ready for this moment. They couldn't have predicted the force you would become. You weren't the person they thought you were, and you weren't the person they expected you to be. No, you were something much greater, much stronger, much more capable than they could ever have imagined. They thought they could break you with their words, with their manipulation, with their power. But they didn't understand that breaking you wasn't the point. You weren't meant to be broken. You were meant to rise. They thought they could crush your spirit, but what they failed to realize is that your spirit was never theirs to crush. You were never theirs to break. You were your own, and they never saw it coming. They thought they could predict your every move, control your every action, hold you down until you submitted to their will. But what they failed to realize is that you've always been operating on a different frequency. You've always been ahead of them, always one step ahead, always plotting, always planning, always waiting for the moment to reveal who you truly are. They thought they knew you, thought they had you figured out, but they never knew what you were capable of when pushed to the edge. They couldn't see the fury that burned in you, the fire that had been ignited when they tried to push you into a box. They thought they were controlling the flame, but they didn't know that the flame was inside of you, waiting for the right moment to explode, waiting for the right trigger to unleash its full power. And when that moment came, you didn't hold back. You didn't hesitate. You twisted everything around, and in doing so, you unleashed a force they could never have imagined. They thought they could break you, thought they could destroy your will, your spirit, your soul. But in reality, they only made you stronger. They never realized that every time they tried to break you, they were actually forging you into something unbreakable. They thought they were tearing you down. But what they didn't understand is that you were being rebuilt piece by piece into something more formidable, more powerful, more unstoppable than they could ever have imagined. They thought you were weak because you kept your silence. They thought you were weak because you stayed out of the fray, because you played along with their rules, because you smiled and nodded while they tried to control your every move. They didn't see the power in your silence. They didn't understand that your silence was your strength. They didn't see that you were watching, always calculating, always waiting for the right moment to strike. And now that moment has come. You've twisted everything around. You've shattered their illusions, broken their power, and in the process, you've taken control of your own destiny. The game they tried to play with you was never your game. They tried to force you to play by their rules, to live by their constraints, to act in ways that suited them, that made them feel comfortable, that allowed them to stay in control. But what they failed to realize is that you don't play their game. You don't play anyone's game but your own. You've been on your own path from the beginning, moving towards something greater, something more powerful, something that no one else could see. You've been running this game all along, and now, as you twist everything around, you're making the rules, rewriting the narrative, and showing them exactly what happens when they try to control someone who can never be controlled. They never thought they could lose. They thought they were untouchable, that their power was invincible, that their control was absolute. But what they never saw coming was your rise, your transformation. They never anticipated that you would evolve, that you would become something far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. They underestimated your ability to adapt, to change, to grow beyond their limited expectations. They thought you were a fixed entity, something they could bend to their will, something they could break and rebuild according to their own desires. But they never realized that you were a force of nature, a shifting, changing entity that could never be tamed, never be controlled, never be broken. They thought they could keep you small, keep you in your place, keep you from becoming everything you were meant to be. They thought they could stifle your potential, bury your dreams, crush your will to rise, but they failed. They failed because they didn't understand the depths of your power, the heights you could reach when you finally broke free from their control. They thought they could contain you, but in doing so, they only fueled the fire inside you. And now, that fire is burning brighter than ever, and it's not stopping. You are unstoppable. You are relentless. You are everything they never thought you could be. Now, as you rise from the ashes of their misguided attempts to control you, they will see the truth. They will see that you were never meant to be anyone's puppet, anyone's servant, anyone's tool. You were meant to be something far greater. You were meant to break free from the chains they tried to place on you, to rise above the limitations they tried to impose. You were meant to twist everything around, to take control of your own life, your own destiny, and carve your own path forward. The world thought they knew you. They thought they had you figured out, but they were wrong. You were always more than they could see. You were always more than they could understand. They couldn't see the fire inside you, the strength in your heart, the power in your soul. They couldn't see the depths of your potential. And now, as they stand in the ruins of their own expectations, they will understand that they never had the power over you. You were always in control. You were always the one who held the cards, who shaped the outcome, who determined your fate. And now, as you take your place at the top, they will be forced to watch as you rise, knowing that they were never the ones in charge. They thought they knew you, but they were wrong. And now, you will show them exactly what happens when you twist everything around. You are the one in control now. You are the one who holds the power. You are the one who determines your future, your path, your destiny. And as they stand there, helpless and broken, watching you rise, you will show them exactly what happens when they try to make you into something you were never meant to be. You are everything they never imagined, and they will regret ever trying to control you. The game is over. You have won. You have twisted everything around, and now the world will bow to your will. They thought they knew you. They were wrong, and now they will learn the hard way that no one can ever truly control someone like you. You were always meant to break free, and now you have. You've become everything they feared, and more. The world thought it knew you. They thought they understood your limits, your weaknesses, your potential. They thought they could control you, bend you to their will, but they were wrong. You were never meant to be controlled, never meant to be confined by their rules. You are the storm, the force of nature that cannot be tamed. You have twisted everything around, shattered their illusions, and taken control of your own destiny. Now, as you rise, you will show them just how wrong they were, and remind them that they were never the ones in control. You were always the one who held the power, and you always will be.